I was starting the show today with a very short story. It's about Shade. It's so sad. Shade is this innocent, beautiful, adorable, intelligent 3-year-old girl. And Shade is a neighbor, like an uncle, Uncle Tayo. Oftentimes, Uncle Tayo is always saying, Shade my wife, Shade my baby, Shade my darling. And you know how kids are, she was very, very free with the man,
Yeah.
just always want to be around this Mr.
person.
Tayo, Uncle Tayo. So apparently when she was around 5, 6 years old, we realized that Shade is always wanting to be with Uncle Tayo. And we felt like it's just normal for kids to want to be around people they actually grew up in the same environment with. But unfortunately, something happened, one thing led to another. And then Shade's mother discovered that she started withdrawing, she just don't want to talk to anybody, but she always wants to be with this Uncle Tayo. And she was like, this girl is not like this, she's friendly with everybody. What happened? And then Shade's mom realized that for a very long time, we don't know for how long, Uncle Tayo had been penetrating the young girl.
Wow.
I mean, at that time, she was already 6 years old. We don't know since the whole thing started. And then, you see, this Shade's case is a sad story. And it's one of the things that has triggered us into, discussing things like this.
Sure.
Because it is very, very, very necessary for us to understand the concept of how the society works, and for young kids, how they are supposed to behave in the society, the kind of knowledge we are supposed to impact
on them.
Because at the end of the day, it will be their loss, it will be our own loss as parents of these kids. So that is why we just want to discuss, is it necessary for sexual education to be taught or to be mandatory in schools, or it is just the basic responsibility of parents to impact such knowledge on these children. Thank you very much for joining us today. This is the show Let's Talk, showing on Wizomia Television. I am Mufi Foluwa. And of course, I have with me Ayomi Kundi, only sexy sugar mommy of Lagos. I mean, we need people like this to talk to us about certain things that, as it has become.
You actually say we need people like
me? No, because you are the sugar mommy of Lagos. So you know everything that happens around. Because this thing has become a kind of menace in the society, and we can't just but help but talk about it, basically.
Exactly.
So, talking about sex education, in a country like Nigeria, we feel like, no, you people should not be talking about it. We don't even want
like
to
a taboo.
It's like a taboo.
Yeah.
Like when you hear the word sex, basically, of course, it's not about the act now. It's about what comes before the act. That's basically what we want to discuss on the show today.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're welcome to the show Let's Talk, brought to you by Wizomia Television. Like she introduced me, I am Mikun, the only sexy sugar mommy of Lagos. And when we talk about sex education, I need people to understand that it's just a proper training that is mandatory. It's so pertinent because the society right now, this is the 21st century, and a lot of things have been happening that is making people feel like, oh, this is not the end of the world. If not because God has just said that He would not destroy the world with water again, maybe whenever we see water, we'll just be like, maybe it is today.
Or maybe it's tomorrow.
Or maybe, exactly. So things that are happening, things that are just happening, and it's because it's now a digital world where everybody is open to some things. Our children are open to a lot of things when they go to schools. Even in schools, they tend to be open to some things that we don't even know. And for the fact that these children they spend most of their time outside of us, outside of our roof. It's either they are in school, they are in lessons, they are having some extracurricular activities also. We also would have gone for our day-to-day activities and all of that. We just want to make sure that the welfare of our children is ascertained. It's either they are staying home with the maid or they are still in school. You're waiting to finish with work and go pick them. So from there, things start to come up, one thing leads to another, and that is the reason we need to understand that we need to take these children on a sexual education right from time. It's not now, like Mufi Oluwa rightly said, it's not basically about talking about sex.
Not the act.
Not the act. It's about self-determination, knowing what you're made of. You tend to explain to them what their hormonal changes looks like, what will happen, and from when a child let's even start with gender identity. You, as you are a girl, you are a boy, and you should explain to them that God has made everybody differently. We can't be the same. This is the masculine gender, that is the boy, the male, and also called a man when they get to a particular stage of their life. And this is a girl, feminine gender, also called a woman, a girl. So when they identify that, these are the things, features that make somebody that, you know that, okay, when this person has these features, this person is a man. When this person has these features, this person is a woman. And let's start from there. So whenever they go out, when you ask them that, introduce yourself, who are you? They will say, I'm a girl. So they need to not have gender identity crisis. If that should even start, that's where the failure comes from.
Talking about gender identity, in advanced countries, I think there was this, they were going to introduce into the curriculum to teach young kids, the nursery kids, that you can choose to be a man or a woman.
That you can choose your,
choose your gender.
They've added it to the British curriculum.
They already?
It has been added, to the British curriculum. So they can teach them in schools.
So, okay, fine. In advanced countries, they don't see sex education as anything wrong. I mean, they're just trying to impart knowledge, and they're already going as far as telling young, like, children. These kids are not even up to 10 years for that curriculum, telling them that you can choose to be a man or a woman. And in a country like Nigeria, where we have a lot of cases of rape and all sorts of immoralities, which actually come up as a result of not being aware of all of these things. You know, when we talk about sexual education, it's just to bring you to a conscious understanding, a conscious knowledge of, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be. This is whom I am. This is what I'm supposed to do. In Shade's case, Shade, the illustration I made at the beginning of the show, I want to believe that if actually she had been introduced to sex education at a very tender age, she might have probably spoken up. She might have probably said, mommy, you know Uncle Tayo is my best friend. He actually touched my body. Or mommy, Uncle Tayo did this and that. She might.
Okay, from where you stopped, let me pick it up from there. There are some children that they are naturally introverted.
Yeah, of course.
They are naturally.
In this case, she's friendly. She talks. She plays around with everybody. She's not a quiet type, so there's a very high chance she would have spoken
out. Exactly, that's true though. But when we have cases of children that are naturally introverted, that's where the problem comes from. They won't even be able to talk it out. So now I think we should go back to the 19th, 18th, 20th century. Then whenever you make mention of anything sex, or there are children there and you're talking about sex openly, they see you as uncultured. They see you as being uncouth. You know, they be like, what are you trying to, like, what's this one saying? You're not supposed to be saying this here. Even when a child just comes up and says something like mentioning their organs by the name, they'll be like, where did you learn that? I must not hear that from you again. But right now, this is 21st century, and we need to understand that you don't even need to mince words while explaining these things to the children. Tell them, let them identify the organ, what makes up their body. Like I said earlier, gender identity. They know what it makes up their own body. They know what makes up the other person's body, other gender's body. So they can quickly identify. You let them know that this part is specifically for you. At least from age 1 to age 8, you should start giving your children basic sex education.
Now that leads me to, we are saying sex education and all. There are some certain things you teach children at some certain age.
Of course.
These things are step by step.
It's
not like at age 2 you're already showing the girl how to use a female condom. No.
That's stages.
It's in stages. At least at that age, from let's say age 0, let me just put it that way, age 0 to 5, they should be able to recognize their parts. They should be able to understand that from this place to this place, nobody must touch it. When anybody does, come to me.
Okay, let's even go back to when you have kids. I mean, very young kids. Have you ever seen a very small boy touching his parts? That's just the level of consciousness that comes naturally by the divine nature of nature. Let me put it out, exactly, of human being. So it comes naturally. You will just identify. So at that point, let them know. Don't tell them that it is Totoro's. It is not Totoro. It is not Kokoro. No. Tell them, let them know, this is your male genital organ. This is your female genital organ. Yeah. And at that point, you know, when a child, it's gone are the days when our mothers, our fathers, before they even attain puberty, is reaching age 16, age 17. Yeah. Right now, we see a child of 9, 8 to 13 years. You start seeing them having so from the moment you see that your child is already sprouting some kind of cocoa at the breast side, you know, you should start letting her know. These are the hormonal changes that will happen. At some stage, okay, as a guy, as a boy, at some stage you start having wet bed, wet dream. You know, it's just normal. It's just your body trying to react to something. So these are the things you do when this happens. So you let them understand that all of these things is in stages. When you identify these things, when your breasts are coming up, at this moment you should identify to them that your breast is now a personal thing. From age 5, age 6, especially girls, they start having this kind of figure that will make them naturally attractive.
And you start checking yourself in the mirror.
That's when you now see your children start getting conscious about their body. So at that moment is the time you need to get close to them and let them know that this is what you do, this is how you do it. Okay,
right. I was actually scrolling on the internet recently and I saw this single father. I think he lost his wife while trying to birth the last child and all. So he has 2 girls and 1 boy. The girls are still very young. They've not even attained puberty. But I think the other girl was at that stage, you know, almost attaining puberty. And the man picked up a pants, a sanitary towel, you know, he was showing the girl how to, you know, fix when you get to a particular stage, you start seeing blood, your breasts start coming out. This is how you fix your sanitary pad. This is how you do this and that. And the good thing is, it did not even exclude the male child. At that point, it was telling the male child that when this happens to your sister, you can actually help, because if you're in a class and a girl gets stained, you should not laugh at because your sister might also get stained one day. You know, those kinds of things. Of course, it's not even teaching them how to have sex, but those basic things. When we talk about sex education, when you impact the stage of puberty, the lessons that comes with all of these things, it's still part of it. Most of these kids, you know, while I was growing up, who would even tell you all of these things? But then there's this sanitary pad organization
that used to come to schools.
Yeah, they'll come to school, they'll show us how to do it, and you know, thank God for me. Before I started seeing my menstrual cycle, before I started experiencing it, my mom already told me, you already gave me lady care. You keep this thing, because it's like, wait, this is your body that I'm seeing anytime from now. So it was that around that time they came to my school, taught us all of this. Even when I said, I didn't even tell her. I already started about 2 days after. I was like,
that's what we are talking about. Children that will not even talk.
I didn't even know how to say, hey, mommy, that thing you told me that I've started.
That is what I'm saying. There are some parents that they are always behaving like, is it Margaret Thatcher?
No, it's not part of my own parents.
No. My point is, you don't understand. Like, there are some parents that they are not even accessible, and it's not because they don't care about their children.
Of course.
They do care, but they believe that things like that should not be discussed. You know, this particular part of the world that we are, you can't see a child only if now, with the modern type of parent that we have now. But before, when you go to, you now come, okay, mommy, I have a boyfriend. You know, do you want to die?
See, even right now, even that, when I finished school and I got talking with my mom, and she was like, if you're ready to get married, I'm like, mommy, you seriously?
Yeah, I get it.
I dare not say, mommy, I have a boyfriend.
Exactly, I get your point. So don't let us drift from what we started. We are still talking about sex education in schools. But now I want to reinstate the fact that you should not leave the sexual education of your child to schools. You should give them the basic knowledge. Let them learn from you. First-hand information is better than when they go out to learn. Like we said that they are always out most of the time, but you should have given them the basic ones. Let them know that if somebody should touch you in this particular area, it is wrong. Even as a boy child, if anybody should touch this area, then the person is violating your civil rights. Just let them know like that. At least civil rights, they would have taught them right and all of that in school. So they just civil rights. They know that civil rights, if somebody should violate your civil rights, you can sue the person. So just bring it to them. Sometimes your children will not even talk about it. They won't even mention it. They won't even look like it. All you just need to do at that moment is that, okay, a child is already 8. You can just bring up the conversation. Or okay, what do you even know about this thing? So that you even know where they've learned, because know how they would have heard one thing from somebody, and even consider the fact that the time is now digital world. They would have at some point maybe see on the internet, maybe during the time they were checking the web for some assignments, they might have seen one thing and be like, what's this? But it's just that with, for example, Tola, if somebody should just come to you and ask you that, okay, let's go somewhere and have sex, what do you know about it? You know, make the answers just to elicit information. In what's it called in psychology? We call it, I think, is it deductive or inductive? There's inductive and deductive teaching. Yeah. So you just try and bring out conversation, so you'll be able to know what extent your child has gone. You will know where to pick up from. If it is that she already knows that they can rub the chest, they can stimulate body.
But there's something to use.
There's something to use
to protect
then you know where to pick up from.
Yeah.
Let them know that, okay, when you start menstruating, there's a particular point when you finish your menstruation, or maybe after 14 days, your body will just be doing you like, at that moment, it is ovulation.
Yeah.
So at that moment, things will happen. All those things that are happening to you is natural. You just need to keep it. Don't, even if it is doing you like anyhow, just, it's not yet time.
Exactly.
You just need to understand that it's your body, your hormone trying to react that, yes, I'm a girl, and I'm, if it is a boy, at a particular time, this thing will happen to you. You need to know. So before it even happens to them, so by the time, they already have an idea, so by the time it will come up, you know, they will be like, wow, you get, yes, like, mommy has already told me, and they will even want to gist you about it. They'll say, mommy, do you remember that day that he told me? So you'll be able to carry them along. It will not be that they are just doing it. Because if these people should, for example, this menstruation that we're talking about, it happens to some children, the first menstruation they will say will be in school.
Yes.
So if it happens like that and she does not even have a prior knowledge, she'll start fidgeting, feeling like she's sick. Blood is on my body. But sometimes that's where the school now comes in. We have some certain teachers that, you know, they'll be like, oh yeah, come, guardian and counselor, this is what is happening to you. It is not this, it is this. So just take this and, you know, get together. But a child that already has the idea, going to school and that happens, maybe she can just pick her cardigan or her jacket, tie, and, you know, please, I need this. You know, she already has the basic knowledge.
She's aware.
She's aware.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't even think, it's not even about menstruation alone now. A child is already in her 16s, 17s. She knows what happens when you have sex. Don't tell her that. Don't let any man. If any man touch you, if a man touch her, she will not be pregnant. She gets. Explain to her the process. At this age that you are, if any man should use his male genital organ to penetrate your female genital organ and dips it in, and this happens. But to prevent that, teach them about preventive measures. You can feel like your child will not have any sexual intercourse till marriage, and they do it before marriage. No, I'm just trying to exactly. So teach them. Let's say peradventure it now happens. Your hormone is not even accepting. Mommy, no, now what are you trying to do? They will do like that. If it now happens, make use of condoms.
Yeah.
When you use the condom, it will prevent. Explain what the condom does. Explain to them about lubricants, everything. Let them know. Don't let somebody tell them that, you know, there are some guys that are very, very, should I call it silly? Because they just want to get down. They will tell a girl that, see, all this menstrual pain that you are feeling, if I should just help you once, if you do this thing once, it will stop. So as a mother, as a father, let your child know, even if you should do it from today to next year, if the menstrual pain will not stop, it will not stop. Don't let anybody tell you that if you do this thing, your menstrual pain will stop. So that child, even if you come and be like, well, if I should do it, okay, my mommy has already told me.
And I'm aware.
I know.
And then tell them that the sperm, when you rub it on your face, does not
cure exactly. Because that's another thing.
That's another thing. Pimples. You know, we have a lot of misconceptions as regards all of these things. Exactly. And when you start hearing them, be like, you're not so what?
You know, okay, for example, I was seeing a particular movie, it's an American movie actually. So the girl was just like, she has a breakout. So the guy was just like, all you need is me. I just need to give you little of my milk, you know, like just trying to be quite tricky with the words. I just need to give you little of my milk, and a lot of these pimples will clear up. And the girl was like, really? So she has to just go and gist her mom. That whole mom, this pimples, like, you know, this breakout I have, even though I've used some products and all of that, don't mind. you know all these Americans, they're always very blunt. So she just had to tell her, this is what happens, don't mind him. It's just like basic and all of that. So I'm just trying to, this same way somebody would do it. And if your child is the kind of person that is introvert, she will not even tell it to you. If your boy is the kind of person that is an introvert, will not tell it to you, because we have some elderly aunties that will tell your small children, you know, the boys, that they should start doing some things
rub my
back, all of that.
body.
So don't get too close. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't let anybody touch this part. And if anybody touches this part, report immediately or to anybody. Voice out. So if they can voice out, they know it will not continue. Look at that case of Shade. Nobody knows since when it has been happening.
She was just a young girl.
A young girl. So it might be happening for over 2 years, 3 years, not until the time she started withdrawing. And parents too needs to take cognizance of every changes they notice in their children.
I mean, I think, okay, I know, let me just say that most of these things is usually, most times, it's not the child's fault. And I wouldn't say it's on the teacher's fault.
At all.
Because there's a limit to how teachers can actually teach the students in school. In the especially in Nigerian curriculum, all of these things, they're just incorporating
and
them.
even they are theoretical. They'll just teach them like read it and all of that.
Things to all of these things. So it is you as a mother or as a father, particularly as a mother, that will be able to instill this basic knowledge into your children, because at the end of the day, if anything happens, judging that, you have to say all of these things to your kids, you have to teach them at an early age. You also have to make them aware of STDs, STIs. Because some of them, okay, fine, my mom said, if I have an intercourse with this person, I might actually contract HIV or any form of STI. Teach them about the usage of sharp objects as well. It's still part of all of these things, because at the end of the day, if somebody contracts HIV and it is not through sexual intercourse, how do we explain it?
That.
Even that I will not be able to, I did not do what mommy said I should not do. So what happened to me? So it is very necessary for us to also teach, we should impact this knowledge into them that there are STIs and they are very, very real. And
deadly.
And you see, I've researched, it is not a fact, but then I've got to know that you see some of these naughty uncles, most of them, they already have STIs, they just want to spread it. And they wouldn't spread at their range or at their own
disposal.
Those innocent kids, now if I say kids, I don't mean 10 years, 11 years kids, innocent kids like 15, 16. Although you see, this is the 21st century, 15-year-old child self is already something else.
And a lot of things are already happening.
Most of these kids are actually very, very innocent. That's when you start seeing the naughty uncles trying to do all sorts of things. So my point exactly now is we should be able to reinstate to them that all of these things, there are STIs and you can contract them in any way.
Exactly. So based on the fact of STI and all of that, all these deadly diseases, let's go back to the fact that there are some certain children that, like I said earlier, they would never talk to you. So children like that, they might have been doing some things, so you need to get words out of them. So when we talk about STIs and all of these things, when we say, okay, you guys can always educate your children that do this, you can do it, but if you do it, use this, like contraceptives and all of that. You need to tell them that don't do it in the other way, because if you do it in the other way, you might have these diseases, and these ones are actually deadly. And it's gone are those days that you tell children that pregnancy. But when you tell them that it is deadly, so if you do this thing and this you contract, and then
if you tell them there is no cure for it,
there is no cure, so that's how you continue living it for the end of your life. They may actually desist from the act, but then you need to be explicit. You at a point, a child will just start asking you, "Hey, mommy, how does this pregnant woman say? How do they used to feel?" That's just her trying to elicit information. Hey, mommy, see, sometimes I used to see some boy and some girls who just be touching themselves. Like, even in my class, like this, Tayo and Bola, they said they are
at the back of the class.
Uncle Tolu now saw them. Not came to tell them, mommy, say all those things. At that moment, you start, yes, that kissing. During that kissing, they can even contract oral infection. Mommy, but you said that it's until somebody puts male genital and female genital into each other. See, that's true. But then sometimes there are some infections that you can get that are sexually that you can get. Just that kissing that they've kissed, they'll get the infection. Mommy, is that one curable? To some extent it is, but to some extent it's not.
It's okay. Even if you cure it, will still come.
She will still ask another question. Abi, if it is none, you will still ask another, because sometimes these children are inquisitive. But when we now have the ones that will not even talk, that will not ask you, some children, they prefer to tell other people about what they are going through than their parents. So at that point, you need to be very careful. Even when they don't talk to you. The other time we had a show, we said that parents should always be available for their children. Make them know that if they don't tell you what happened in that day, the day is not yet over. Even if you are not available, let them know that everything that happened from the moment I dropped you in school to the moment I'm picking you, I want to hear.
Something like
sit them out.
Not complete without you talking to mommy,
exactly.
how you paint your
exactly.
face.
So you as an individual, you tell them, you lead by example. You can just create a time out of the day. Okay, this is gisting time with family.
You can even fake it. And when I went down from the bus, I saw one woman, she was beautiful. I just said, wow. Then I went to the office.
Exactly. So they'll be listening. But because mommy, what happened? So at that moment, you start, okay, go, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, tell me about you too.
Yes.
So these children, they need to be informed. And like we said, the whole topic is about sex education in school. And schools to have a role to play, even though their own is minimal. Schools should tend to incorporate sexual education. I actually saw a particular video online where we saw that a particular teacher was teaching SS1, SS2 children how to insert a condom. And the video actually went exactly on a dildo. Like that. So the video actually went viral, and a lot of people started saying it's not supposed to be. Is this? And I felt that was just like the proper thing to do. Because these children, SS1, SS2, are you kidding me? They've been one way or the other. They've been doing this thing. Even if they've not done it, they've seen movies. They've watched some certain things.
They've come across
some.
Online.
They've seen their friends, some friends. You know, when the way Nigerian education is, sometimes SS1, SS2, you see a child of 17 years, 18 years in SS1.
Yes.
Especially public schools.
Even 19.
Exactly public schools. So for that sake, those ones would have been telling me, say this thing that they would have been having.
There was a background voice in that video. Mama Tin was like, what's the meaning of that?
Definitely, that one to understand
the old concept. We are going to continue the show, but after this short commercial, we'll be right back.
Sweetheart. I can't afford to be late for this meeting.
Give me the same excuse every day.
I always tell you the truth every. You know I will never disappoint you.
Everyone needs a hero, like Nokpa.
After Nokpa,
it is always Nokpa.
Nokpa for management of power.
For still staying tuned with us, the short commercial we just had, Nokpa, and this show is proudly sponsored by Nokpa about mixtures.
Yeah.
About mixtures. Alright, so we've been talking about making sex education a mandatory stuff in schools and then with parents. So far we've been okay, fine. One thing is us talking about how it should be made mandatory. But there are some restrictions to all of these things.
Yeah, sure.
There are reasons why people don't even want to talk about it. It's not like somebody will just wake up one day and say, I don't want to talk about this. When you ask why, there should be a why to it. There should be a reason somebody does not want to have that kind of discussion. One thing is our culture.
Yeah, sure.
Culture. This part of the world. Let's leave Africa alone. Nigeria. Especially Yoruba land. Of course, I'm a Yoruba girl, so I would only speak for my region. They believe that those things, they say in a way that Oma share nokpo. I don't know if you understand.
Naturally, like Yoruba people, they don't go straight to the point. They know that this is white. They will say like, this thing is having a similarity like ego, that kind of thing. Like it's as white as Kiniko trying to be using similar.
So one of the problems to this thing, to not teaching our children, our students in schools, sex education is the clash of culture, because most of us see it as it is not appropriate for me to say these things in public. Even as an adult, when I'm amidst my parents or elderly people, I can't even say some things.
Exactly.
Because when I start going, all raw and pure, they'll be like, this girl, she won't go any.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. So it's just one of the problems, and I feel like it is not necessary.
Exactly.
Fine. I'm not saying we shouldn't put culture in place, because of course culture made us and it is making us.
Sure.
So, and we cannot say because Olaju Day we should now put aside everything that we've learned, every cultural values. No, that is not what I'm saying. But we are supposed to, move around as the world is moving. We are supposed to move with it in a way that even if you want to share Nokpo, you don't want to be all straightforward,
all vulgar about it.
Exactly. There are some ways you still teach these kids and they'll be able to understand. It is not Kokoro. It is not Totoro.
It's not.
It is not.
Yeah, okay, I think the cultural issue is the major problem that is being faced. Even if, okay, look at it, for example, that video I said spread online.
Yeah.
When people saw the video, they were like, this teacher is a bad person, and she's even a woman. Is she supposed to be doing that? So they believe that what the woman is doing is wrong.
It's wrong.
For the fact that she's teaching these children openly at that. But we need to understand that, fine, gone are those days in the 19, 18, 16, 17, 20th century, where our parents are always, they are just like very innocent. Children right now, a child of 4 years, 5 years, they are not even innocent. I was just passing by a street yesterday and the girl was singing a particular song by a popular street pop artist. You will know, a very controversial artist like that. She was singing the whole song. The song, I can't just start singing the song here. The way she was singing the song line by line, the girl should, at max, maybe 5 years. And those things that were said in the song, they are things that, stop it. So apparently, she knows all of those things. I can't sing
Even
it.
if she does not understand
what it means.
But then she knows.
She's aware.
That's it.
So that's to show you that gone are those days when we can say, okay, cultural restrictions and all of that will not allow us. Let these children hear it from you first. If they start hearing it from a third party, fourth party, they won't explain the way you would have explained. As a mother, as a father, as a sister, you will explain to your siblings, your children, in a way where you know that they won't go out to be misconstrued or be misinformed. So we need to let them know. So culture should not be, it's actually a major factor when it comes to Nigeria in particular, but we shouldn't allow it. This is a modern age, and we just need to, move as it is. Things are changing. This century is just open. Not even when we have Gen Zs. Gen Zs that they are even so, Gen Zs that we are.
When you said
exactly.
Gen Z that they
No.
Like,
Gen Zs, yeah, we are just like, we know everything. All we just need to do is ask Google. Whenever anything happens, we just want to ask Google. And Google would not filter anything, will bring it straight to you. Meanwhile, my mom has filtered it for me all my life. So if you have told them straight, even by the time they ask Google, it's just like for broader explanation, not for the basics. And another problem to people not wanting to talk about this thing is that these children, they tend to take it extreme. They turn themselves extreme. So in the way whereby when you inform them about all these things, they already know. You've told them about contraceptions. So they can go on and on doing this thing with contraceptions. And when you ask them, it's my mom that told me now that even if they will not understand that you're just trying to explain to them that to prevent that, we know that at a particular point in time, you will do it. And it's not possible. Is it possible for a child to, Mommy, good afternoon, I want to go on this virgin now. It's not possible. Or a boy should say, Mommy, I'm going, I want to go and have sex with my friend. It's not possible. They will not say it.
Married people would not say, I want
exactly.
to go and do this with my wife. It's not
So they will not tell you. So their parents trying to tell them that there's something called contraceptions. That's when you start seeing some people using a particular contraceptive pill like paracetamol. Because they just know that there is a contraceptive pill. They don't know that it also has side effects. Though condom does not have side effects, though it has side effects, it can lead to infection among other things.
It can even tear.
Exactly.
You don't get pregnant, you still get pregnant.
So we just need to, at the point of teaching these people, let them know that for the sake of those that will go extreme. I'm not saying that because I've now explained this thing to you, you should not start moving from one person to another, trying to experiment.
They are contraceptives.
Because this Gen Zs, we love to experiment a lot. We don't like anything that is just curious. We're always practical.
We just want to know everything.
Okay, they told me that I should not do this. What if I do it? What happens?
Why should I not do it?
For the case of a child that is being told that his agbalumo that is on her chest, And she's seen a boy that's told her that agbalumo is meant to be sucked, normal.
Of course.
That don't you know? Go and check online. Of course, she'll go online. What is supposed to be done for agbalumo? Agbalumo is supposed to be sucked. Or you told the child that it is orange, Joe. What should we do to orange? Orange is supposed to be drank, suck.
Drink
so they will tell you that, of course I can do that to your own too. So you need to explain it to them. So we wouldn't say because we have, in simple terms, that they will be able to understand. We will not say because we have extremists in these children, we should not say because of that we will not talk to them about it. And for another reason, some reason they don't teach it in school is because there are some teachers that maybe there are some teachers that they are just like devil in human skin.
How do you mean?
Okay. A biology teacher that is teaching Tola.
Okay.
Trying to teach Tola sexual education.
Okay, a male biology
teacher. Have you ever had any encounter with children in students in SS1, SS2 when they are having biology class? There are some students in public school that they don't even go to every other class, but when it's biology class, they will go.
Especially reproduction. It makes them very
happy and active. They just want to hear.
Yes.
So at that moment, there are some lesson teachers. All in the name of they want to take extracurricular activities extra lesson in biology. They start practicalizing the biology they are teaching. So because of that and many other things, and even some schools don't have the adequate facilities to go about these things, teach the children. And at the point of teaching them, these children won't teach them in depth. And that's for the case of children that don't even have the background information. So the teacher will just treat them peripheral. And so they might actually go practicing it among themselves. Trying to practicalize. So that, among other things, are the reason this thing are actually the problems to teaching sexual education in school. But as a parent, you need to make sure that your children are informed before they even go to school.
And I think for some schools, they might even want to include it in their curriculum. But then at that point, I think they should teach even the teachers what to teach the students.
And how to go about it.
Don't say, I'm a trained teacher, I know what to do, I know how to go about it, and I know, of course, I've had 3 kids, I know what to teach these kids. No, like we said at the start of the show that these things are actually step by step. There are steps to it. It's not like you just start saying, hey, Tola has sex with this person, this and that. There's a way you go about it. So for me, regardless of every problem that comes with, teaching them and all of those things, I still feel like they should be taught.
Of course.
Prevention is better than cure. If they know, if they are aware, and anything happens, it will now be their own fault. I told you, did I not? It's better than, Mommy, you didn't tell me this thing. You just told me that it is Totoro's. You just told me. I did not even know. That kind of thing.
And the lucky thing for us right now is that you see this Gen Z, the way we have a lot of problems in our generation, is the same way we have a lot of benefits. I came across, while preparing for this show, I came across some certain videos. The videos are even rated 0 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and it has to do with sexual education. And it's even as audio, that you can just, a child of 3, 4, 5 years, you can play it to them. Even if you don't play it to them, you can master the song and sing it to them. So they know what they should identify. This is my head, this is my gyneco, this is my gyneco, this is... So all those things like that, they'll be identified.
Of course.
Like in musical terms, because I think I got to know that children tend to grab faster when it is in a song form.
There are some songs there are some things they taught me in mathematics while in primary school, but because of the fact that they taught us with songs, in form of music, I still remember the things they beat me and shouted.
You don't even remember.
I don't remember anymore.
So because of that reason, with all this digital eruption and technological facilities that are available for us, listen, it's easy. If you are the kind of parent, there's some parents that are even shy. Yeah, there's some parents that they are shy to talk about some things.
So if you want to take up motherhood or fatherhood, you should be ready to bear whatever comes with it. Even if you're an introvert, even if you're a very shy person, the moment you decide to start bringing in children into this world, you should just be open. You should be ready for whatever comes after it, and you should be accountable for this. You would even be accountable for these children's lives. Anything they do, it's coming back to you. So of course, you take the blame. So if you are saying the parent is shy, No, not,
No,
not
I'm
you
just-
shouldn't be shy to the extent that you don't be able to teach your children basic things.
Basic thing.
That they're
You know,
supposed to
some parents themselves, it stems back from their own background. When they were young, they were told not to say these things out. And growing up too, they never said it. You don't know all those people that they would want to have good time with their husband, and what they'll be doing. You don't understand. What? You know, that kind of, they want to have good time with their husband now. No boyfriend, no fiancé, no whatever. They will not be like, you know, all this whole code mixing, code switching, and all of that. So things like that is natural in people like that, and you don't want such a person to pass it on to someone. So if you know that it's quite difficult for you, and then you want your children to still grab all of this education, you can make do with all these videos, you know, teach them through it, and after they've seen the video, they will ask questions. Only if your child is a dollar, there's not even like a dollar, they will still ask questions.
Because I don't want you going to that.
Okay, before we conclude, let me just add this to it. As a man and as a woman, when you're ready that you want to get married, you feel like it's high time I want to get married, before you start bringing forth children, go for parental counseling. It is very important. I feel a lot of people will be like, all those things is Ibalode or Laju, this thing. It's more than that. There are some things you need to learn before you get into these. Parenting is more than just being a mother. It's more than just breastfeeding and dropping money that, okay, this is your money for food. It goes way beyond that. So that's my suggestion.
Alright, on a conclusive note, did you know that accurate, balanced sex education, I'm going to be reading it out so that we can have a comprehensive idea of the whole thing. Yeah. Accurate, balanced sex education, including information about contraception, like we mentioned earlier, and condoms, is a basic human right of youth. So as a youth, it is even your right to be aware of all of those things. So when we clamor, when we emphasize on the need for sex education to be mandatory, it's not just saying because something happened to this person, or it's because it is our the right of every basic youth. Every youth has a right to be aware of this thing. So you as a parent, as a good parent now, you shouldn't deprive your children, your words, of these rights, because it is direct. So instead of silencing sex education because of cultural beliefs, religion, and all of those things, culture should be taken into context while teaching sex education. For instance, if you say, you know, we came from a royal family, my love, mommy, Shanu Mio. In our house, you should have a glamorous wedding, and you should be a virgin at the point of getting married. You know, even at that point, even if it is not true, you are trying to imbibe culture in the old sex. I just use that as an instance. In the old sex education, trying to let your child say that there's a cultural belief, there's culture in place, and I still want to impact this knowledge on you. And of course, as a parent, you know your children best. You know how you can
relate with them.
You know what the things you will say to them that will make them calm and just wants to listen to you, and you know how to give out words with your words. So if you want to imbibe cultural beliefs into this sex education, you know how to do it.
You can even go with storytelling, you know, giving them practical examples of people in the past that had glamorous wedding, or people that, you know, this Yoruba, deep Yoruba movies, they explain all of these things. So
I heard of a particular story, you know, the mom at the point of trying to tell the girl that, okay, this, don't do this, don't do that, don't let anybody touch you this way. She was just being blunt, and then she said, okay, there's one more thing. In your daddy's family, whoever disvirgins you should be the one that gets married to you. If not, you and that person will run mad. So you can imagine that kind of thing.
Extremists.
I don't know if it is true. It's a story. I don't know if it is true. Sure. But that girl, even if it is not true, even if the old
for that sake,
she will be very, very careful. I'm not saying you should not go and lie to your words, but then a part of, you know, some stereotypic ideas, I don't know if it is superstition now, but then there's a culture in place. The woman was just trying to be careful. So if I tell her that she will run mad, she will know what to do it. And there is no remedy. As soon as you people run mad, that's just the end. So these things, I'm not saying we should, you know, lie to our kids, but we should know how best to be able to
talk them out.
So we are concluding the show on Ayomiko sign out.
Okay. Sexual education is actually very vital for children, and parents should be willing to do that. It comes from the parents first before it go down to the teachers. You know, you should give your children the basic sexual education. Don't let them be misinformed by people outside, and together we can make a better world.
Yeah, exactly. And I also want to emphasize on the fact that it is very, very necessary for schools to insert sex education into their curriculum. Some people have already inserted it, they're already teaching them, but then
you should do better.
They should, exactly, that's the word. They should do better. And for parents, see, there's a limit to how teachers can actually go with your children. So it is you that knows what you want for your children, what you want for yourself. Because when they say Odeleke Mufifula, who comes first? The surname. My dad, my mom. Before they even say Omotan, they will first say Omotani. Who is your father? Who is your mother? So anything that happens to the children, just know that it's still falling back
down to you.
All right, thank you so much for staying tuned to the end of the show. I enjoyed the show, and I want to believe that you did too.
Yeah, sure.
Until next time, thank you.